Think missing your credit card payment isn't a big deal? Let me show how it can hurt your credit score even after you pay. If you don't know who I am, my name is Kenny Johnson. I operate a credit repair company here in Montreal, Quebec. We service Canadians all across. So if you need help or you need assistance with your credit, you can contact us at info@kennyjohnsonuniversity.com, or you can give us a call Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern. That's going to be at 438-803-1002. So let's go ahead and jump right into the topic. Maybe you have some late payments, or maybe you're considering taking late payments and you want to know how it's going to affect your credit. We're going to cover that now in this video. Let's say you have a 720 credit score. Okay, we'll go ahead. I'll draw a 720. This is currently where you are. You have a 720 credit score and you currently have one credit card. Okay, I'm going to draw a credit card. All right, I'm going to put some details. We have one credit card. All right, now for most part, for the time of you having this credit card, you've been doing a really good job at making on-time payments. And then all of a sudden your due date comes. Okay, your due date comes. Let's just say, let's do a random date. Let's just say September. The card is due on September 25. Okay. Let's say the due date is September 25, 2025. Okay. This is the due date. I'll go ahead and write out due date. All right. So this is the due date. Now, what's going to happen is, let's say you don't make the payment. The 25th comes by. Okay. You don't make the payment. Now, even if you don't make the payment on the due date of September 25th, that credit card provider is not going to report a late payment just yet. What they're going to try to do is contact you. Okay? They're going to try to contact you. Let's say your name is Bill. They're going to say, "Hey, Bill, we noticed you haven't made the payment on your credit card yet. We just want to check in, see if you plan on making the payment for the credit card. That way we don't report a late payment." This is where a lot of people make mistakes and they mess up. The credit card provider, sometimes, a lot of times, they try to help you out. They'll call you and say, "Hey, it's time for you to make your payment. We noticed you haven't made your payment on your due date." Okay? You actually get an additional 30 days from this payment due date before they actually report a late payment. Okay? So they'll try to call you. And what a lot of people will do, they'll ignore that credit card provider and pretty much just kind of say, "I'll forget you. I'll just, I won't pay it. I'll move on. I'll be okay." That's a huge mistake. If something's going on from the due date to when they may report that late payment, it's important you communicate that with your credit card provider. They may be able to give you a grace period so that you don't get hit with a late payment, or they may say, "Hey, are you able to make the minimum payment on this card?" Maybe you're not able to make the minimum payment, but they may be able to give you a grace period, or they may have something in place for you so that you don't get that late payment reported. But let's just say, for the purpose of the video, let's just say you're not planning on making that payment, okay? Let's say you're not planning on making that payment. 30 days go by, this credit card provider is going to report a late payment, okay? Now you have one late payment on your credit report. You've been having this credit card, let's say you've been having this credit card for 5 years. We had this card for 5 years, okay? Excuse my handwriting. We've had this credit card for 5 years. You've never had a late payment on this card, and your credit score is a 720. Okay, our credit score is 720. We've had this credit card for 5 years, and we only have one late payment. That's not a big deal, right? Wrong. A one late payment can affect our credit score anywhere between 50 to all the way up to 100 points. Okay? Now, let's just say this card, the limit on this card is $1,000. Okay? And the minimum payment you had to pay was somewhere around $15. So because you were not willing to pay that minimum payment of $15, sometimes it varies on where you are, the balance you have on the credit card, all these things. I understand that. But let's just say the minimum payment, for example purposes, is $15, and you're not willing to make that payment. Because of $15, your credit score has now dropped anywhere between 50 to 100 points. Okay? So it's now dropped 50 to 100 points. So that 720, okay, this is now a 620. Congratulations. All because of the $15 that we have here that you did not pay, that you were not willing to pay. So my question for you is it worth it? Is it worth it? Is $15 worth it? we could even up it up a notch. Let's just say the minimum payment is $100. Is $100 worth your credit score going from a 720 to a 620? It's not. It's not. That should never be worth it. And I'm gonna tell you why it's not worth it. Because a 720, the difference between a 720 and a 620 is the difference between you being approved for a credit card, an auto loan, a mortgage, a private loan, whatever it may be. That's the difference between you getting approved for those items. Furthermore, you go from a 720 to a 620, it is going to take you a long time to recover from this. What do I mean by that? So we have one late payment. We have this one late payment here. It takes a full year of on-time payments to offset the effect of one late payment. So that's 12 months. That's 12 months of on-time payments. That's 12 months of on-time payments to offset this one late payment that maybe it only took you $100 to mitigate this, to avoid this, all of this here, to avoid you from going from a 720 to a 620 to you having to do now a year's worth of work to recover from this 620. Okay? You want even more worse news? We have this late payment now. This one late payment is going to last on your credit report for 6 years. So now this is here for 6 years. You could have nothing else wrong with your credit report. But now what you're doing is you're giving the banks, you're giving all these lenders a reason, an excuse to deny your application. If I'm lending you money, your credit profile can be completely clean. But if I see on your CIBC credit card that you have one late payment, I can question you and I can say, hey, what is this one late payment about? And if I don't like that answer, I can deny you. I can say, I'm not giving you credit for this reason. Okay? And I didn't do you any wrong. I'm just following my guidelines that I have for my lending. And the banks are going to do the same thing. They're going to follow their guidelines for their lending. And every bank has their own guidelines for their lending. Some banks are more lenient than others, right? TD, they've been around for a lot longer. They have a stronger presence within the economy. So they're not going to let you get away with as much as someone like a Scotiabank, okay? Or a Tangerine, these smaller banks. They're not going to let you get away with those things. So you have to ask yourself, is this one minimum payment, for example purposes, I upped it from $15 to $100 just because I know someone may say something. Let's just say the minimum payment was $100. Was that $100 of you not paying worth it? And let's not forget, it's money that you put onto this card, that you transacted onto this card. Is that worth it? So we have one late payment. It takes a full year of on-time payments to offset the effects of one late payment. But then on top of that, that late payment is going to stay there for the next 6 years. Okay? Now we have to ask ourselves, what can we do? What can we do? Okay, what can we do now that all of this has happened? Okay, one, okay, if you do have a good relationship with your bank, maybe like we said, you've had this card for 5 years and you're always making on-time payments. That's great. You can try to leverage that. But having communication is an important thing, right? Because once this due date comes and you don't make that payment, you need to be communicating with your bank on what's going on. But if you've been ignoring them, why would I try to work with you? If someone owed you money and you've been trying to call them to get your money back and they've been ignoring you, why would they try to reason with you later on down the line? It's the same thing. Put yourself in the bank's shoes because at the end of the day, they're running a business. So, one, if you have a good relationship and you've been communicating with your bank, we can talk about a goodwill removal. Okay? What's a goodwill removal? A goodwill removal, so I can't speak today. A goodwill removal is us calling the bank and saying, hey, this late payment occurred. I've been with you guys for 5 years, and this is the only late payment I had. This is what happened during that time period. It would be really appreciated if you guys could go back and remove that late payment. I'm going to ensure that no further late payments happen in the future. Depending on the bank, they have their own guidelines, they have their own programs in place to work with their clients. They may give you that goodwill removal, depending on your relationship. But how have you been communicating with that bank? How have you been working with that bank? Are you always paying your credit card off in full, or are you constantly carrying a balance? Are you playing around? Right? So, what are we saying here? What are we doing here? And then, obviously, the longer you've been with that bank, the more leeway you have. But we don't want to put ourselves in a situation. Okay. One thing that's going to put the ball in your corner even further is that you could tell the bank, hey, I want to set up automated payments. After they accepted that good removal, hey, I want to set up auto pay. Can we set up auto pay? And they may say, okay, well, do you want to set up auto pay to pay the minimum balance, pay X amount, or pay the full credit card off in full? That's going to be up to you. Obviously, I would recommend for you to have it set up to pay the credit card off in full every single month. That way you're not being charged interest. But if all you can do, or the safe thing you can do, is the minimum payment, that's okay. So you can set up minimum pay. Okay. I'll say miscellaneous pay because it could just be like a random number that you want to set up. And then we have full balance. Okay. Those are your three options. What are you going to do? Look at your finances. If you're using a credit card in the first place, you shouldn't be spending more money than what you have access to anyway. Okay? So first we're gonna say, hey, goodwill removal, we're calling the bank, we're asking for good grace. We have a good relationship with this bank. We've been communicating the whole time. We haven't been ignoring the bank. We haven't been pushing them off. We're ready to move forward to try to resolve this late payment. Two, hey, I want to thank you for removing that late payment. Let's set up auto pay. I want to ensure that this does not happen again. I really appreciate the relationship that I have with you guys, and I actually want to use more products in the future. Let's set up auto pay. I want to go ahead and move forward with that full pay. Okay, I want to make sure that gets paid fully every month. And even if you don't want to do, because I do have people that I work with that they're not fans of auto pay, and I'm going to be honest, guys, I'm not a fan of auto pay myself. I trust myself more than any system they have in place. Let's use a calendar. We all have phones, right? Let's use a calendar and let's mark when our payments are due. And then every day we're looking at that calendar and we're making the payment on time. Let's leverage this. This is my favorite. I love using the calendar. But maybe you want to do that minimum pay, auto pay. That way, even if you forget to look at your calendar, right, that minimum payment was made and then there's no mistakes happening, right? But this is how, if you have this in place before you even watch this video, then you'll never have to worry about all of this. Okay. But the most important thing is that when we have a credit card, we're not using what we don't have anyway, which means we should have a budget, okay? And this is the last one. And any video, when I'm talking about debt or anything, it's always gonna come down, it's always gonna come down to a budget. Do you have a budget? If you don't have a budget, and anytime I talk about a budget, I'm gonna say this because this is the message I want to give across to everybody and anybody. Doesn't matter where you live. If you don't have a budget, don't use a credit card. If you don't have a budget, I'm gonna go semi Dave Ramsey here. If you don't have a budget, cut up your credit card. Don't use it. You shouldn't even have it. Don't get a credit card until you've done a budget consistently for 6 months in a row. And you're able to cash flow, aka save a minimum of $500 a month. That's my rule. If you can't save at least $500 a month, you do not need to be playing around with debt. Okay? Have a budget in place. So let's do a quick recap. Okay, we started out with a 720. All right, we've had a credit card for at least 5 years. The credit card limit is $1,000. We did not make the minimum payment. Our credit score can drop anywhere to 50 to 100 points. So we went from a 720 to a 620, taking us out of eligibility to get it approved for items later on down the line. So when we're here, you're saying, hey, I don't want a house. I don't want a car. I don't want these things that I need credit to get access to. Okay. All right. And then we understand by going through this process that it's going to take a full 12 months of on-time payments to offset the effects of one late payment. Furthermore, it takes 6 years for that late payment to age off of your credit report. But then here's the answer. Okay. We want to call our credit card provider, communicate, be transparent, be honest. That's the most important thing. A lot of people call banks and lie. Don't lie. Be honest. Let's get that goodwill removal. Okay. Let's set up auto pay. All right. And if you don't want to do auto pay, you have the option to do a calendar, or you can do a combination of both. It's very helpful to do a combination of both. You can do a combination of both. And then lastly, Have a budget in place. This is extremely important. I will put this number one of all of my list. This is my favorite thing. This is the if you're a credit person, you know how important having a budget is. Have a budget. And then you do not have to worry about late payments again in the future. Okay. So hopefully you found this video extremely helpful. If you need help with your credit, my team and I, we are here to do this. We've been doing this for half a decade. We've been doing this for half a decade, helping Canadians from in every province, from BC all the way to Nova Scotia, PEI. We have clients in every province. And if you are currently dealing with collection accounts, we'd be more than happy to help you out. You can send us an email, info@kennyjohnsonuniversity.com. You can give us a call Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern, 438-803-1002. And until next time, peace.